Hello there, and a warm welcome. Have you ever been in a situation that you so regretted afterwards how you acted or reacted or didn't or should have or shouldn't have done certain things? And then when you think back to it now, you probably feel embarrassed, ashamed, humiliated, and you just think, why did I do it that way? While you're going through something like that, it might feel like you're the only person who's ever gone through that. Excuse me. Still got a bit of a frog, but it's actually a very common experience. As human beings, we go through doubts all the time. And these events and situations are just really so difficult to deal with when we go through these difficult things, because the shame and embarrassment well, shame is one of the most difficult emotions to feel. Makes us want to feel like we just want to sink into the ground. We don't want to be seen. We don't want to show up again. So it will impact on future events, and it will make us less likely to show up and step out and show ourselves and be vulnerable, because we just never want to feel that horrible shame, embarrassment feeling again. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit today and just lead us through a few tapping rounds. So I'm guessing you'd be able to think of a situation like that, that when you think back to it, you may still actually cringe. I've got several in my mind, actually. And then we're going to do just a bit of tapping around that with some of the things I learned in a form of tapping called intention tapping, or it's actually called intention energy process. And there are several forms of tapping. So I usually go with a traditional Gary Craig, even though I feel like this. I love and accept myself. But today I just wanted to introduce this intention tapping on my channel. I'm a practitioner of it, certified practitioner. I use it all the time in my sessions, and it works slightly differently. So the process is you're going to just tap all the time. You're going to keep continuous tapping going. So we never pause and check how we're doing. You just keep tapping, keep tapping, keep tapping on all the points. I also use the inside of the wrist and then the finger points. And then the other thing to do is I give you some specific words, and you have to repeat the words exactly this way. Now I realize I'm not with you, so I can't get the exact words that you would have been saying, but there's a little phrase that needs to stay exact, and then you can fill in how you are feeling or thinking about the situation. So let's do that. I'm going to be looking over on my notes a little bit here and there, so please excuse my eyes looking over and not directly at you today. So, first of all, let's just tune into something where you still feel embarrassed or ashamed for something you did or didn't do. Now, I know it's difficult to do that because it's not a great feeling, right? But just for a moment, tune in there. Think of the situation. Notice if there's any sensations in your body. And while you do that, start tapping. So you can start tapping on all the points. And I'll do that with you now so that you just have somebody tapping with you. So notice where in your body you feel either a sensation or sort of a cringy feeling, or like a ugh, horrible feeling about that shame or embarrassment, that shameful or embarrassing moment. And then the words I'm going to give you as you just keep tapping is, I restore the right energy flow to these sensations in my body. And then you just keep tapping through all the points. And you don't need to repeat that phrase. Oh, I've got a nice little sigh. So just check for yourself if you've had a little sigh or a yawn. Some of my clients burp, and all the time just keep tapping. So just notice. Now, I can't be with you right now to notice. Usually I ask my clients, so what do you notice? Maybe that your thoughts have gone somewhere or your sensations have changed to a different position. So just simply because I'm not with you now, I'm going to give you some more statements and things that we are going to tap for this specific situation. And I'm hoping that I've covered many of the points or the angles to the situation so that this tapping session can just be really useful for you. Again, if I say words that don't suit exactly what you're thinking or feeling, just change it. But the first part of the phrase needs to stay the same. So now I just need to look at my notes. Right, so here we go. So just think of your situation again, the thing that makes you feel embarrassed or ashamed, and say, I release, and just keep tapping on the under the arm point now. I release all my emotional attachments to that situation. And again, just keep tapping and noticing what shifts or change for you. Oh, goodness. I've got another little sigh. That's always a good thing. When my clients sigh in their sessions, I usually say, hallelujah, something is shifting. Right. And now we're going to move on to the next statement. Again, I can't ask you what you notice. So if you want to, you can pause the video and just jot down a few things and then include those things in some tapping afterwards. But here's the next sentence. I release all my emotional attachments to everything I did in that situation to cause this embarrassment and shame. Oh, you can see I sigh quite a lot. It's like a sigh of relief. It's like the body putting down the burden of having to carry that. Some energy shifting. Our nervous system state is changing. I'll give another little moment to just tap through this thing. Okay, and again, I can't ask you, so just check in with yourself. What do you notice right now about that situation? And jot down, pause the video and jot down anything that comes to your mind. And then you can check after the video whether any of those things still feel true for you. And then do some more tapping about that. So you can see we're just doing continuous tapping in this, even though I'm just talking. Right, so the next statement I'm going to give you is, I release all my emotional attachments to I should never have allowed that to happen. And then continue tapping. And again, just notice what you notice. If your thoughts go to a different event, perhaps, or you notice more body sensations, or you think of a specific little piece of this event, all of that, just jot it down. And afterwards, we'll check in. During a true client session, I will be dealing with that as it comes up, but now I can't because I don't hear your feedback. Okay, going or moving on to the next piece, and that is I release all my emotional attachments to all my shoulds in this situation. And just keep tapping and noticing. Again, you might sigh or yawn or burp or hear your tummy rumble. And you can hear with this method, we use quite broad statements like all my shoulds. That's a very broad statement. And that is what's different about this method as well. With Gary Craig's EFT, we have to be really specific about a specific piece of the situation or a specific should. And here it's just all my shoulds because there's probably many floating around, right? And your brain, your unconscious and your subconscious knows how to sort through that. Oh, I love all the sighs that come up for me. Okay. And again, pause Notice if there's a specific should that's there for you, and you can always say the statement again while you tap. I release all my emotional attachments to your should, your specific should, and pause there and tap through that. And then our next statement I'm going to give you is I release all my emotional attachments to all the things I should never have done in that situation. And just keep tapping. Ooh, I love these signs. Clear sign that something is shifting and changing, becoming lighter. Your system is letting go of it. And again, notice your thoughts, sensations, images that may come to mind, other situations, and you can repeat these statements for that situation. So just jot it down, make sure you've taken note of it. Right, and then going on to the next statement that I want to give you. Sometimes we have a lot of rules for ourselves, like I'm not allowed to be XYZ. I must be such and such. I must be perfect. I can't make mistakes. So all of those rules we're going to address now in this statement. So say, I release all my emotional attachments to all the rules I have for myself about how I must show up, and tap through that. Oh, I've got many rules for myself about being perfect and never making any mistakes. And that puts a huge amount of pressure on us as human beings. We learn through mistakes. That's how life works. Or we can learn through mistakes. Sometimes we don't, we make the same mistake. But that's what mistakes can do for us. It can help us to do better, do something different next time, try something different. But if we have that rule, I'm not allowed to make mistakes, how are we going to supposed to learn? Good. Now, I just want you to rest your arms for a moment. Just take a nice deep breath in and out. Hmm. And just notice. You may, at this point, feel a little bit more relaxed about it. You may feel a little calmer. For me, my thoughts are very sort of calm now. I'm not noticing a lot of thoughts going all over the place. Now, I'm going to do one or two more tapping statements, and then I need to finish this video because I've got an appointment in a few minutes. But here's it, because sometimes when we've made this mistake now, we're afraid it might impact something in the future. So let's just address that for a moment. So if you've got this mistake or a shame or embarrassing thing that you did, and you're afraid it might impact something like a meeting or a project or a person or a relationship in the future, or your work or your job, just do the statement. I release all of my emotional attachments to the projection that my embarrassing thing will have negative impacts in the future. And just tap through that. Notice what you notice. I had an immediate sigh, as you may have noticed. That just feels very calming. It's like, okay, I don't have to worry about that anymore. That piece is gone for me now. And then one more piece. Say, I release all my emotional attachments to the fear that my mistake will impact my ability to do a good job in the future. And just do a few tapping points on that statement. And in a moment, we're going to start winding down. Good. Now, this bit of tapping was, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. You may want to replay it for the situation again and again until you feel completely neutral about that situation. It may be that it's reminded you of other situations that occurred before this one, and then this one sort of packs on top of it. So we need to also go back to the previous one. So do repeat this process for your previous embarrassing moments. And then if it still feels like there's something left, look at some of my other videos. I'm going to put this one into a playlist where you can look at some other tapping sort of angles to difficult situations. Or maybe you need to contact an EFT practitioner to go through the specific situation with you and help you and guide you through more angles so that you will completely neutralize this event so that it really has got no impact on you anymore and you can just move forward into the future, just being your true, authentic self, not being afraid of every mistake that you could make in future. Thank you so much for joining me for this piece of tapping. My name is Liesel Teversham, and I do love supporting sensitive introverts, HSPs, highly sensitive people, to live their best life by letting go of things like this that happened in the past and living their absolute best life and showing up as their true, beautiful selves. Wonderful. Thank you so much and enjoy your day.